So today I am going to be showing how we will be making the Cubist clay faces. Step one, we have our clay, we have to roll it out into what's called a slab. So we are using a rolling pin and we are rolling out our clay. It's best to stand up and do this so you can use all your force to roll it out. And I like to roll it in one direction. The tablecloths that we're using are gonna kind of slide, but we need the tablecloths so the clay won't get stuck to the table. We want our clay to be rolled out about this thickness. So that's good, little too thin, ooh, still way too thick up here. So that's the good thickness here. So when I'm happy with the thickness of my clay, and that's exactly what I should want, like a pancake thickness, then I can go ahead and start carving my face. The main tools that we're going to use are toothpicks and straws. Okay, I mostly use the toothpick because it can cut the clay very well and it can draw designs really well. So you're gonna start first with whatever clay shape you want. Okay, that's gonna be first. I like to do it lightly, okay? The reason why you wanna do it lightly is so that if you mess up, you can redo it. So lightly drawing my shape, okay? When I am happy and I say, yes, that's exactly what I want my shape to look like, I can now take my toothpick and press down hard. The difference is that this time I am cutting all the way through the clay instead of making a light mark on the top of it. Okay, when I'm done, just kind of like cookie dough, I want to lift away the extra. Do not ball it up. You see it over there? It's not balled up, okay? It's important not to ball it up because I'm going to use this extra to cut and add pieces on top, okay? I like to use my fingers and make a little alligator and pinch the sides. You see how I have some like crummies, little crumbs that I can smooth off with my finger, kind of like a little mouth. Now, I can work on adding my pieces on top. I can cut out like the nose shape I want to use, or I could carve in what I wanted and leave it flat. I'm gonna be adding something on top. I'm gonna add my nose like that size-ish. And I'm gonna make like a big triangle shape almost. Although we're using tools like the straw and the toothpick, the best tools you have are your hands. Always, always, always. They are way better. I use my hands more than I use this toothpick. When I'm happy with the shape, I'm ready to attach. This is the most important part. Let me make sure we can see all the way. When you are attaching clay, right now, this is smooth and flat, and this is smooth and flat. It will not stick together. Just like if my hands are smooth and flat, they're not staying together. We need to add texture so that they will not move around. So the way that we add texture on the back, and I think this side is the side I want to use on the back, I'm going to scratch texture in. I use lines that go one way and another, kind of like you're making a grid, like tic-tac-toe, something like that. Now this has texture. I look at where it's going and I want it kind of like right here. And I add a little bit of texture here too. I don't want to get too crazy with adding texture on this side because then it's a lot harder. I don't want to see the extra. You see how that's totally covered up? Can't see it? Now, I'm going to attach my piece with a little bit of water. Okay, so I have my water cup, I have my paintbrush. I add a little bit of water to each side. And now I'm going to attach them, wiggle and push. Wiggle and push. You see how it's making a suction? You can see my water bubbles because it is making a suction because I don't want this nose to fall off in the kiln. That would be sad. Okay, now it's attached. I could use my paintbrush a little bit to kind of clean up the edge. Use my hands, wiggle, it's not going anywhere, okay? Next, you could continue to add the features on the top like eyes and your mouth. And you should not be moving your face. The only reason I'm moving mine is so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of carving like a funky shape for my eye with like an extra kind of top and an extra bottom. Because as we know, Cubism is funky. It's not realistic. Okay, I can always use my hands to make it look better. So again, I'm adding texture. Can't be smooth. I'm thinking about where I want it to go. I'm thinking right here. And I'm adding a little bit of texture here too. I'm adding my water to both, and you wiggle and push. Okay, I can use my paintbrush to clean it up. I use my fingers to smooth it because sometimes it does kind of mess with the shape you made when you attach it. I'm gonna do the same thing with my top and bottom pieces. I kind of want it to look like that. Wiggle and push. You're getting that surface tension you want, so they are locked in and it will not fall off. I have half of my face fully attached. I have my nose, I have the eye pieces I want. I still need this eye and the mouth. And I'm not gonna mess with these too much more because I want them to dry a little bit. So my other eye, I'm gonna have be a little smaller. So what shape should my other eye be? Maybe I want a spiral, that would be cool. I'm silly. You know what I'm gonna do instead that will look a lot better? I'm gonna roll it. Sometimes we have to come up with solutions while we're working. I wanna do the same thing though. Whichever side is gonna be my top and whichever side's going to be my bottom, I need to add texture. So I'm adding texture because this is the back. So my front still looks good. And I'm adding texture to this side as well. And I'm adding water. And I push and turn. So for the mouth, I'm just gonna do kind of a simple. So now that I like it, I'm pressing down hard. Important thing to remember with the mouth is that I don't really want these to be two separate pieces, so I'm not going to press down hard in that middle line. Otherwise it would completely come apart. So look at how my line in the middle does not go all the way through. That will help later. Okay, I can still make it look good and go over it again, but now my lips aren't in two pieces, so I can add it a little bigger, a little easier. Now that I have all my 3D pieces and they're fully attached, you can see I can't get that nose off. I can go back in and start adding my details. I want to keep smoothing out my clay. I want to make sure that my edges look nice and clean. I don't want that to look messy. And I can go back now with my hand and with my toothpick and kind of add the details I want to see, like if I want any lines to be sharper, like that, like underneath, or they could be smooth. Okay, you see the difference? Like making your shapes stand out or not. I'm not carving all the way down. Then you can think about where you want to add like some texture. So I am probably going to add some patterns around here. So I want to add like my eye shape. Very important that I am not pressing down hard. I don't want to carve through this. I want to just make a little mark. Always try to get these little crumbs off, because when they dry, they will become part of your clay project. And if you don't want them there, you gotta get them off now. So I'm gonna add some kind of stripes. Sometimes if it's hanging off the side, you have to support it because otherwise you don't want it to fall off. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my spiral and kind of carve in that line so we can really see it. Now I'm really just adding all the definition, right? And this is when you can really think about if you want any layers in this too. So if I want to carve away, and I think I do want to carve away right here, like a nostril. On purpose, I wanted to make a hole all the way through. And the straw is something that can really help a lot with that, instead of just the toothpick, which can kind of help make it cleaner afterwards. I can continue to just add some more details around. If I wanted anything else 3D, I still have a few little pieces that are extra, and I can continue to add like patterns in the clay. I'm going to add a few more 3D pieces. I'm kind of going to go like this all the way around. I think that will help balance it out. You can always try to fix it later because it will look a little bit messier after you're pushing it around, but you really have to do that or it will fall off. So it's better to push it down now and fix it than to have it fall off in the kiln and you're completely missing that part. And I can kind of carve it back into the shape I want because I really kind of want them to be rectangles. And obviously I kind of made a tool out of the end of this paintbrush so it wasn't quite as pointy. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue to kind of add texture. I could carve in patterns or designs if I wanted to. I think I am done. Maybe the only other thing I would add is something over here on the bottom, since it's a little bit emptier on the bottom.